the third part of this series, I'm going to talk to you about the specific operatic terms that you might hear and what they mean, particularly from an orchestral player's perspective. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is recitative. So in opera, recitative is where the drama moves forward. So there's lots of words, not particularly tuneful, and the point of recitative is to get from one big aria to the next. So the action moves really quickly. For singers, that means that they have their lines that they obviously have to sing, but the rhythm, whilst it's notated in the music, they've got a certain flexibility. They don't need to be really precise about what it says. As orchestral players, this is a bit of a nightmare because what we often have is just one note here and one note there in between certain words. And because the singers have got this flexibility, we need to be ready to go at any moment. And so we actually spend quite a long time rehearsing recitative so that when it's in the show, we're absolutely in the right spot. Next, I'm going to talk about arias. Arias are the reason you buy tickets to come and hear this music, because it is when everything stops and the spotlight comes on a particular singer and they get to sing about really special emotions that sometimes words alone can't do justice to. The orchestral parts in arias, they can really vary. So as a bassoon player, to be honest, I'm often in the background providing a nice foundation for the voice to soar over. But if you're a violinist, you will have really beautiful melodies to join in with the singer. Coloratura is a special kind of Italian style of singing. The passages for the voice are incredibly quick and you have to have a singer with a very nimble voice. Something I've noticed about coloratura singing is that actually the words kind of don't really matter, so at that moment in the music, nobody's really worried about the story or what's being said, and it's just about the beauty and the power and the incredible skill that the singer has developed. That's the special thing. So often you don't really even know what the words are. There are quite a few examples of that in music. So a very famous one is the Queen of the Night arias from the Magic Flute, but also you've got the Mad scene from Lucia di Lammermoor. Next we have intermezzo, and for us orchestral players this is a really special part of the evening because there is no singing in an intermezzo and it is our moment to shine, and it's often accompanying a scene change, to be honest, but there are examples in opera where the intermezzo has a really special place in the music, and a good example of that is the Meditation from Thais by Massenet, which features the solo violin, and it represents the moment where she goes from being a pagan to being a Christian. It's about sort of religious transformation. And the last thing I'm going to talk about is obbligato, and this is something that makes orchestral players a little bit nervous, because what obbligato means is that there is one orchestral instrument that becomes as equally important as the voice on stage. And a fantastic example of this is in Mozart's La Clemenza di Tito. There are two arias, one in each act, for I think it's soprano on stage and clarinet in the pit, because we know that Mozart loved the clarinet, and so the clarinet is not just simply playing a tune, but the clarinet is as important. To be honest, for me the hardest thing is trying to persuade the clarinet player that not everything is an obbligato moment, and actually they get their moment to shine, but there are other people's chances as well.